production is as we go into the land of Dawn. But will Onic Philippines be able to tie things out come game number 2?
How much good? How much great? Yeah, they ought to.
They ought to. They got to keep it going here because one big thing about this is, once again, eyes on Sensui. Is he going to be able to actually utilize this Nolan like a lot of people are assuming he will be able to do, or has a team figured out how to shut him down with that kind of hyper scaling that he can have?
Yeah. This Nolan, I'm wondering what his first name is.
All right. They never showed his name.
No, it's Christopher.
Is it?
No, it's not. We know it's not.
But okay.
I like the lore, okay? And I know they don't have a last name. It's Nolan, Layla, and I'm sorry I forgot the name of Nolan's wife. Because she's no longer with us in the story.
Okay, I digress. But Sensui opening up rifts in and out, and we are seeing how powerful this hero is, this Nolan can be if given that early game advantage. But 26 seconds before the first turtle comes in. Nothing fancy yet for both of our teams.
Yeah, again, this is the big thing, right? As soon as these turtles come up, that's where you have to see how it differs from the previous game. You can already see this too. The turtle control rate for both of them, but already this is what Blacklist International wants to do. Put pressure on one of the lanes, get any advantage they can before the next turtle fight breaks out. The first turtle fight, rather.
Yeah, so both Yue and Edward wants to be able to get their ultimate come the first turtle, and that's going to be the response also of Onic Philippines. So 3 of our members here have level 4s. Meanwhile, Ryzen still on that purple buff.
Yeah, with Escalera not taking level 4 yet, it might be tough, but they're going to try to get to it.
Oh, just, not enough time. Again, you saw how that whole rotation kind of unfolded before the first turtle came up there. So, again, Blacklist International doing what they have to do. No bodies fallen, though, just yet.
Yeah, and don't forget the ultimate of the Nolan Fracture. Actually, it's sort of like a escape tool and damaging tool at the same time, being able to remove all debuffs on himself. And, of course, the burst damage he can dish out, especially if he has some rifts left onto there from either Gauge or Expansion. I mean, that's how his passive works.
Yeah.
Oh, no, his passive is like the increased attack that dashes.
Yeah, I think his passive allows you to deal out enough damage when you have 2 rifts open in a specific hero. So definitely we want to see more of action coming from this Nolan. So they look like they're about to set up against a Nets. It's 4v2, 4v3 rather.
Onic, they know this, right? But the question is, even when you have this information, can you actually stand up toe-to-toe with the fight? Because in a way, with this setup,
instead to sort of balance it out. And yes, by the way, Sea Halberd actually for Sensui was his item priority, if I'm not mistaken. The XP lane version of Nolan, we see them actually get the Blade of the Heptases instead, but the Sea Halberd now is the priority for Sensui.
I think though Sensui has a Fury Hammer, so he just wants that additional penetration plus that lessening of the healing coming from this Mathilda's Guiding Wind. But so far, Super Prince is not hesitating in terms of casting his Circling Eagle against Yue.
Yeah, as a Matilda, that's what you do. You use that Circling Eagle as sort of like a deterrent. And it's like, try to do it. Oh!
Escalera going to go in with a flicker once again. It gets the knockups here. The battle in the mid lane. Cram go to the backside, but the airstrike. They're going to get pressed back here. Onic Philippines does not want to fight into that as they lose Escalera.
What? Very crucial Minoan Fury coming from Renegade.
The Farsa is a problem right now. The Minoan Fury from Renegade actually just provided so much space for Blacklist Farsa to really deal damage.
Can they get Renegade here? He's one hit away! Ryzen able to get the kill finally. Now, Edward there. Keeping Ryzen, Super Prince, nets as well. Edward, gonna flicker Appraisal's Wrath. He's now taken. Ryzen will get it.
That was a smart use of the guiding wind. It's like Ryzen says, okay, I'm gonna be coming back and then finishing the job here. Recalled there by Onic, and this is the pace that Onic needs to play if they want to go up against Blacklist International's lineup. If ever Blacklist get them, they have to get them back. As long as the Matilda is alive, again, that's the strength of the Matilda in this meta.
Yeah.
Quick item updates, and so we actually already up to the Blade of the Heptases. So he went for the Fury Hammer, finished the Sea Halberd, then completed the Blade of the Heptases.
Yeah, so definitely we want to see more damage coming from him. But so far, Onic Philippines is speeding up their tempo headed by Super Princess Mathilda. Even Escalera, he doesn't hesitate in terms of casting his flicker and using that onward as we are seeing now.
This is going to be a full-on fight here. Cram gets taken care of really quickly. Rises in the backside. Turtle's going to go ahead and reset. All ultimates nearly going for it here from Blacklist International for that fight. So Onic Philippines, they lose Cram, but they actually... Okay, Sensui gets the turtle here.
Oh, they're chasing.
So they're still going to be chasing. Onic Philippines, though, I will say, doing better in this game number 2 than they did previously.
It's a little bit better, but they need to work on their target prioritization in the team fight. Super Prince and Ryzen, actually, it surprises me that they're not syncing up their usage of their ultimates, their diving style with the Circling Eagle, with the electrifying beats of the Joy, because that almost every time we see Farsa and then the Brody just being able to freely hit in the back line. So if Matilda and the Joy adjust their playstyle and really sync their dives, then that's going to throw off Blacklist team fighting to set up room for nets. Super Prince and Ryzen need to accept that, yes, even for the objective fights, they might have to bait out abilities, use their ultimates early because they're setting up for nets to finish up the job anyway.
Yes, and definitely they want to be able to funnel nets rather, as well as Ryzen, just to be able to ensure that they dish out equal amount of damage in terms of physical and magic damage. But so far, they haven't been able to touch Yue in his Farsa. He's able to cast all 3 ultimates.
Yeah, I think that's going to end up being a crucial thing as the game goes on.
No!
Right there, Renegade going to go ahead and find the setup they're looking for. Look at the damage coming through, though. Escalera tries to get out there. Onic Philippines going to punch back, though. They find Renegade. They're looking for Edward now. Edward will fall as well. What a great response from Onic Philippines.
That's what I was talking about. It's already set up for nets, even though you get initiated on, and that was a great start by Blacklist, and even better response by Onic. Nets again showing off why he's a highly touted gold laner this season with his ability to stay alive in surprising situations.
Ryzen, okay.
Still alive.
Even Ryzen can do that too.
Yeah, and I just want to point out also Reptar, on top of what you mentioned, it's good that they were able to distort the positioning of Blacklist International in that specific sequence. As you can see, Oheb was still on the top. So there was no damage dealer for the side of Blacklist aside from Yue.
Honestly, that setup that we saw, even with Renegade there, that couldn't have gone better for them in terms of like a setup. But it was just a great communication and response from Onic Philippines. This is it right here. Look at this.
Yeah, great start there by Renegade, and then US set things up for the Farsa, but then a quick punish onto Sensui's Nolan. Great sidestep by Nets, already committing the sprint as well to quickly re-maneuver, and then a great targeting. Again, when Onic is able to really time their targetings together, they play so well. Just set up Nets for success.
Yeah, and so far we haven't been seeing a lot of action yet coming from Nets because we want to see more physical damage coming from him. So he definitely wants to be able to position himself just so carefully, just so that he's able to free hit against the side of the agents. But so far, Onic Philippines is in control of the Lord and they want to poke Edward.
Okay.
Out the flicker.
Yeah, they got that out. They also got the Lord to reset for a little bit. Ryzen, though. Here comes Sensui. The damage comes through. That's the power, but he falls as well. Both teams fighting without the junglers. Super Prince going to fall here. Do they battle it out? Lord will go for the reset. Onic Philippines, though, as long as they keep Nets alive, it looks like they're happy. But they got to defend the mid now. Blacklist International wants to get this tier 1 down.
Great call by Blacklist to go for the tower instead of rushing the Lord. They're going for towers first. They want to go to the bot lane, break that first, even though it looked really good for Blacklist to go for the Lord instead. They still didn't underestimate, again, the risk. You're still up against an Edith, a Paquito, and then, again, that Irithel. Blacklist are keeping close tabs on Nets because as long as he's alive and he can fight, they're being a little bit more careful.
Yes, and right now we are seeing Nets with almost complete hits, but this looks like the first Lord will go into the hands of Onic Philippines uncontested because Blacklist chose to push that bot lane.
Yeah, but I mean,
It's okay.
yeah, it's okay. Like, because at this point, really, a lot of pro players are willing, or pro teams are willing to give up the first Lord.
Yes.
Because a lot of them always just say, "Hey, do we contest?" It's the first Lord anyway.
Yeah.
It's important. But then even if you don't contest it too hardly, too much, and then you give it to the other team, as long as your damage is good, you're gonna be able to clear it up quickly anyway. You lose just a few towers, maybe
Yeah.
just one rather.
Yeah. I think even with this one.
Ouch.
Oh,
Oh,
Yeah, that's-
Christopher.
oh Christopher. Nolan, the fractures. They're tough to deal with, and the Onic Philippines is feeling it, but given that whole situation, they are the ones leading this right now,
Yes.
3K ahead, looking for more space to work with. Escalera as well, the guy to set a lot of things up for Onic Philippines, especially in this game, has been on point for the most part.
Yeah.
And the counter punches, like I said, Onic Philippines, sometimes it's not them starting the fights, right? So their counter punches right now have been on point. Can Blacklist International deal with that? I think that's one of the big questions. And those big fights that have happened so far, OHEB hasn't been able to really be there and
Yes.
unleash yet. That's kind of one of the missing pieces for Blacklist International.
Yeah. Now this is one of the gambits that Blacklist played. With them going for the towers instead of the Lord. Yeah, Onic again didn't get too much out of it. But what happens is Onic has a little bit more presence in the map now. So now Blacklist are getting pushed more towards their side of the map, their side of the base, which means in terms of the objectives for the Lord fights, especially, Blacklist are going to have a little bit more work cut out for them in terms of actually being able to position properly,
Yes.
especially up against a Matilda, up against a Joy. So Blacklist, this was the choice they made. They
Yes.
put themselves in this situation where they're now more on their side of the river instead of the ones pushing out.
And so far, right, a while ago, our problem was Onic Philippines wasn't able to sync their skills properly. But now, we are seeing the combination of Super Friends as well as Ryzen just fearlessly diving
Yep.
onto that back line, which is why Blacklist International's damage dealers, namely UA and OHEB, are having a difficult time positioning themselves in the team fight. So they're not able to maximize their damage outputs.
Just time it all together, and then
Yeah.
you're gonna get the Farsa and the Brody.
Ah.
Even Crapper. Oh,
Wow, Cram.
who knew getting punched would hurt so bad?
You know, and the thing is when you have that kind of threat with a Keto here that was an XP lane against your jungler, it's tough to deal with. But, you know, ultimately nothing is going to come of that just yet. We are 10 seconds away from that Lord coming up here. So that's really where you kind of expect things to fall in place. Once again, with these two lineups, they will want to be going full force 5-on-5 for this Lord here.
Yeah, and it's a sort of a hybrid build, but actually it's the build that we've been seeing with more Matildas, where it's Enchanted Talisman, Flask of the Oasis, and then third item, Holy Crystal. Because again, even though her damage was nerfed, Matilda can still deal a good amount of
Yes.
damage. And the Flask of the Oasis is now even more crucial for Matilda if she wants to give so much more shields, because that was nerfed as well.
Yeah, and you know, even with the absence of the damaged Matilda, the mere fact that they can get security with that guiding wind combination with the Flask of the Oasis is a threat on its own. So right now they have to watch out for this, and
Yeah.
Cram is now distorting even UA.
Yeah, great call. This is a typical Onic thing to do.
Yeah.
Especially we saw it in Onic versus Omega earlier into this season, where in Cram with a Hansel and a Paquito actually was able to go for a split push and via the mid lane because he controlled the mid lane so well.
Yeah, something to keep an eye on here. Blacklist International has to deal with. That's the pressure they're going to be looking for. And as we
Yes.
know, the Lord dances.
Yes.
These can go on for quite a while, but with this lineup, especially the fact that Sensui has his hands on this lowland, a fight could break out and turn the tide really quickly, just like that. Escalera going to find Renegade, tossing him over. Now UA going to be in trouble. Ryzen will chase them down. They lose two, and they're still going to be going. Escalera jumps in with the Primal Wrap, still going to be looking for it. Oh, to Escalera as 3 down for Blacklist International, and Sensui just runs for his life.
Sensui.
Can he get away? Super Prince! Go! But look at the damage! Sensui! Cram will finally take him out. And look at that, the Lord. The Lord was taken for Blacklist International.
Can Edward defend? It's Nets and Escalera. Oh! It's just Nets!
Wow.
With that, Blacklist International was able to minimize the risk given that they were almost wiped out by the side of the Sonics, but good thing for them, they were able to get the Lord and they were able to take Super Prince and Escalera down.
That was the result of Onic's choice.
Yes.
Earlier, the choice of Blacklist was towers instead of lords. Onic said, let's take him down. They get the Lord, but we'll be able to clear it anyway. How that will fare now for Onic, that is the question that we're going to be watching out for here. But they made the right call to continue the aggression and then chasing for kills. Quick item update. No wonder why that Nolan Hurt's already up to a BOD. Same thing for the Joy as well. Already up as well to a Divine Glaive. And even got the Wings as well for a little bit more sustainability for herself.
So right now, Onic rests comfortably at the 2.9k gold lead. 90 seconds before the third Lord comes out. But so far, we want to be able to see setups from both of our teams just to know which one of them has more damage at this point in the game. But so far, Onic Philippines is the only one showing aggression.
Oh, Escalera, okay.
Ooh.
Thank God he has the guiding wind here. Now still going to be fighting for it.
Engage.
Pushing it forward. Renegade going to jump in. Gets the Noise Fury before he's taken down. Edward takes quite a bit of damage. Cram falls as well to Sensui. Oheb on the run. One hit. Super Prince gets the kill. 2 down from Blacklist International. Sensui waiting for Escalera. Can he get the kill before he gets taken down by Nets? So 3 members versus 2. They're in the base. I don't think they can pressure this one just yet. No minions to help them push in on the top and the bottom either.
The minions are just a bit too far, so they're clearing them ahead of time. 30 seconds for Sensui, 5 for Renegade, 15 for Oheb. It's not endable for Onic, but they're going to have to pick instead, and they decide to back off and then go for a turret. So wow, what a fight these two are putting on. Sensui is putting on a show with this Nolan, but you're seeing what Nolan is built for. High risk, high reward. He can burst 1 or 2, but he will most likely fall down, which is why we're seeing XP lane Nolan, because at least he'll have a escape mechanism if he has the flicker. But with the retribution, it's like it's all in or nothing at all.
Yeah, and just so that Nolan can be worth it, he needs to be able to make him fall down at least 1 damage dealer from the side of Onic Philippines. May that be the Joy or the Irithel.
Yeah.
But so far, the ones that are falling down are either that Edith as well as that Paquito. So it's not that worth it.
Escalera?
Oh, Escalera again. Gonna find Sensui, but he has to run back. Still gonna be fighting for it. Feathered airstrike right on top of multiple members. Who's gonna be able to outlast this? Quite low. Nets able to get the kill.
Wow.
Immortality gonna be popped. They find another knockdown. Energy goes down. It's a double for Nets. He is massive right now. Sensui. It's Nets again with the triple. Now chasing down. Crab cleans up the kill. It's only UA. And Onic Philippines comes in, makes the adjustment, and will take game number 2. Goodbye, UA. Winter tranches, but it's not enough. Onic Philippines takes game 2.
This winning moment is brought to you by our official